Today, we're diving into one of the wildest, most counterintuitive challenges in all of online gaming. I'm talking about a journey that basically spits in the face of logic when it comes to building a powerful character. We're going to explore a path where strength isn't about how hard you can hit, but how long you can last.
So, think about this for a sec. In pretty much every single game you've ever played, what's the goal, right? It's to get stronger, hit harder, and just crush your opponent as fast as you can. But what if there was another way to play? What if your greatest weapon wasn't your sword at all, but your shield?
Well, that idea is the absolute core philosophy behind a super unique, kind of legendary character build in old-school RuneScape. It's called the Defense Pure, and it's an account built for one thing, and one thing only. Not to deal damage, but become a completely unkillable, immovable object.
Okay, so defying the rules of combat sounds cool, but what does that actually mean? Let's break down what makes this build so incredibly different and why it's such a legend in a world that's usually all about those high-damage glass cannons.
So here's the deal. A Defense Pure, sometimes called a Def Tank, is an account where you pour every single point of experience you can get into one skill, defense. The goal is to hit that max level of 99. But here's the crazy part, the twist that makes it all work. You keep your attack and strength skills at level 1, on purpose. The result is a character who has just insane defensive stats at a ridiculously low combat level. And this is where you can really see the genius of it, the little loophole these players found. Just look at these numbers. A Defense Pure at combat level 55 has a maxed out defense of 99. A normal player at that same level, their stats are all kind of balanced around 60. See, the game's combat formula actually cares more about your attack stats. So by keeping attack and strength at rock bottom, these guys can wear some of the best armor in the game and still fight in the low-level PvP brackets. It is a brilliant, brilliant way to game the system.
This really gets to the heart of the matter. It's that classic paradox, the unstoppable force versus the immovable object. Most players, they're building that unstoppable force. They want to crush you, and fast. The Defense Pure, that's the immovable object. The whole strategy isn't to kill the other guy. Nope, it's to make them quit. You're a wall. They're going to run out of food, run out of potions, and honestly, run out of patience until you're the only one left. But building a character that literally can't fight back in the normal way? Yeah, it's not exactly easy. Let me be clear, this is not a path for anyone who's even a little bit impatient. We're talking about one of the most difficult, mind-numbing grinds in the entire game.
So, you're probably wondering, how on earth do you level up defense if you can't really fight? Well, you have to get really creative, and the methods are, frankly, they're bizarre. For starters, you wear these special enchanted rings that deal just 1 point of damage back whenever something hits you. You literally let monsters kill themselves on you, 1 hit point at a time. Then, you become a quest expert, hunting down every single XP lamp you can find just to squeeze out those few precious points for defense. And last but not least, you grind out minigames, not because they're fun, but just for the XP rewards you can cash in later.
Let's try to put that grind into perspective for a second. To get from level 1 all the way to 99 defense, doing that, you're looking at somewhere between 200 and 300 hours of gameplay. That is an absolutely insane amount of dedication for just one skill on an account that, for pretty much that entire time, is just useless.
I mean, the community doesn't pull any punches. It's known for being, and I quote, one of the slowest builds in OSRS. It's not just slow, it's legendary for how slow it is. This isn't something you knock out in a couple of weeks, it's a marathon.
But for the very, very few who actually make it through that brutal, brutal grind, oh man, the reward is huge. This is where the whole journey shifts. It stops being about patience and starts being about forging a true legend. A tank defined by the incredible gear they can finally put on.
Okay, let's talk about the good stuff, the gear. As your defense level starts to skyrocket, you unlock this just legendary arsenal. You start with the classic full rune set, then you move up to the iconic barrow sets. You get to wield the awesome Dragonfire Shield. But the holy grail, the ultimate goal for so many of these players, is the Justiciar armor set. I mean, that is the absolute peak of tank gear. It makes you practically invincible to physical damage.
And this is the moment it all pays off. After hundreds and hundreds of hours of the most tedious training imaginable, the Defense Pure finally steps into a PvP area, and the result is, well, it's just amazing to watch.
This right here is the whole magic trick. On the one hand, you've got a character with a combat level so low, most players would just laugh and think, easy kill. But then you see the reality. A warrior decked out in some of the best gear in the game with an insane defense level. Can you imagine the frustration? The sheer psychological damage you do to someone when they keep hitting you for 0 over and over and over again? It's a huge part of the build's power.
So the strengths are pretty obvious, and they are powerful. In PvP, you just win by outlasting everyone. It's a war of attrition, and you're built for it. In group boss fights, you can be the ultimate tank, just soaking up massive hits so your friends can do all the damage. It's definitely a niche role, but for the right team, it's incredibly valuable. But, of course, there's always a catch, right? There's a big price to pay for being this tanky. You do basically 0 damage, which makes trying to do anything by yourself either painfully slow or just flat out impossible. You're also a sitting duck for mages, since magic attacks use a completely different defense stat. And since most of these accounts don't train magic, they can't teleport. That means if you get into a really bad spot, you can't just poof your way out.
So, when you add it all up, what's the verdict? Is it actually worth it? Is it worth spending hundreds of hours to become this walking fortress that can't really even throw a punch? Well, the community has a pretty solid consensus on that.
Yeah, this quote really just nails it. A defense pure is not your main account. It's not the character you log into to do your daily stuff. It's a trophy. It's a passion project. It's a statement that says you love a good challenge and you have the dedication to see it through. It's all about the satisfaction of having one of the rarest, most respected types of accounts in the entire game.
And this chart just lays it all out, plain and simple. Let's look at the trade-off. The prestige, the whoa factor when people see your stats, it's through the roof, like 95%. But the actual day-to-day usefulness? Yeah, that's pretty low. And the amount of patience you need, that's at 100%, no question. You're basically trading normal, practical power for a special kind of fame and respect from other players who know what they're looking at.
So it kind of leaves you with this really interesting thought, doesn't it? In a gaming world, and maybe life in general, that's so focused on offense, on aggression, on being the strongest, is there a different kind of power in just being the one thing that refuses to break? The defense pure makes you think that maybe, just maybe, the greatest victory isn't winning the fight, it's just being the last one standing.